All right. Welcome everyone. My name is Lori Fernald Kamala, and I am the program director here at Code the Dream. Code the Dream is a national nonprofit tech organization, and our focus is on providing a path to careers in tech for people who are underrepresented in the industry. And we're going to talk a lot about what that means today. So let's see. Hopefully everyone can see the screen. Yeah, Code the Dream is based in Durham, North Carolina. I'm located here in North Carolina, but we do work across the country, and we are very excited to extend this opportunity for our free coding classes to all participants in Upwardly Global program. Today I'll go into more about what is Code the Dream and talk about our model, some of the tech that we create, and then go more in depth into our classes and what the application process is. You will also get to hear from Code the Dream staff member Elsabeth. She's going to talk a little bit about her experience as well. So, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. Just going to jump right in. So what is Code the Dream? This is our mission statement. At Code the Dream, we create opportunity that changes lives. We build technology that benefits our communities, and we support the diversity that drives a more just and innovative world. And we'll talk about what each of these things mean. Again, this is the model, the three different components of our work that does make our model very unique. And we'll go into those now. So we carry out
how to turn on person convenience yard mode, right?
Oops, I'm sorry. I'm just going to mute that person. And if you have a question for now, you can put it in the chat, and we'll definitely have time to unmute and ask questions later. So at Code the Dream, we have two ways that we carry out our model. One is through our Code the Dream school, in which we provide free intensive classes in web development. The languages that we focus on are Ruby on Rails, React, JavaScript, and a Node backend language for JavaScript, backend framework for JavaScript. And that's what I'll mainly be going into by the end of this presentation, when we will talk about all of the different things that are included in our Code the Dream free coding classes. And then on the other side of our program is Code the Dream Labs, and that is where graduates of our program can apply to join Code the Dream Labs as an apprenticeship to gain real-world experience working on real apps for real clients. And you'll get to hear a little bit about that as well. So the first part of our mission statement, Code the Dream is opportunity that changes lives. So following our free classes and apprenticeship program, over 85%, it's actually much higher, probably over 90% of our apprentices go on to launch their successful careers in tech as software developers. Our program is geared towards people who want to become software developers. We have had our participants get jobs at places like we have somebody right now at Google, someone at Airbnb, we've got someone at Amazon, at Duke University, we have someone working for the state of North Carolina, and plus a number of other smaller startups or regional software companies like Tango and Thoughtbot and Pathos, Ethos, and many others. When people get out of our program, they're usually ready for a junior software development role, both either in the back end or the front end or full stack, depending on what they have focused on in our classes. So in terms of the next part of our mission statement, technology that benefits our communities. In Code the Dream Labs, we are building real apps that are supporting the community. We partner with organizations and government agencies and small businesses and universities to affordably build apps and web technologies that help address critical community needs. So that is what is happening once an apprentice begins their work in Code the Dream Labs. And there you can see all kinds of apps that we have worked on. I'll just put the website in the chat here. It's codethedream.org/portfolio. You can see some of the apps and websites that we have built. And Code the Dream, of course, supports the diversity that drives a more just and innovative world. We definitely want to really change the face of tech. We believe that the innovation that's going to drive a more just world and solutions to many of our world's biggest problems must come from a very diverse community and software developers who come from many diverse backgrounds. So we really do believe we are changing the face of tech. And now we get to hear from one of our in-house software developers, Elsa. I am going to stop sharing my screen and then I will highlight you. Just a second. And Elsa is going to tell us a little bit about her own journey, and then we will go into learning more about Code the Dreams classes. So, go ahead, Elsa.
Hi everyone, my name is Elsa. I am originally from Eritrea, East Africa. I came to US in 2018 to continue my education, but the university cost was very high and I wasn't able to continue my master's. But then I did some works like being a cashier and working at a coffee shop. But then I heard about the Upwardly Global. They help people to get a professional job, and I started following Upwardly Global. And then I was asking one of the people who were helping me in working on the job finding. I asked her if there is some school was like affordable schools where I can learn web development, because my dream was to be web developer. So she searched, her name was Bethany. She told me about Code the Dream and I was so excited. She gave me the phone number and everything. And I called. When I first called, I met Daisy, and Daisy gave me all the information, and she told me that, oh, there's a class that starts on September, and I was so excited. And she just gave me the resources and to study. So I was able to get a chance to study at Code the Dream. I started learning and I did my project. And another exciting thing that Daisy told me that day was, yeah, if you do good in the courses, you can have the opportunity to do an apprenticeship, which will be very helpful. It's like working in real-time projects. And yeah, I did my course. I finished my course, got the opportunity to the internship program, and I did that, and it was very exciting. Code the Dream helped me. Like, I didn't pay anything. It was for free, but I gained knowledge, I gained experience, and everybody was so friendly to help me out. And I achieved my dream. And now I am a junior developer at Code the Dream. So without Code the Dream, I wouldn't be here in the field that I always want to be. My dream wouldn't have been fulfilled without Code the Dream. So Code the Dream is the best place that fulfilled my dream and a dream of a lot of people. Even though you came from another country, even though you don't have any money, and maybe you don't even have a background of an IT, you can be whatever you want to be with the help of Code the Dream. Thank you.
That is awesome, Elsa. Thank you so much for sharing that. And hopefully you can stay on a little longer and maybe people will have questions that they will want to ask you as well. But yes, it's really cool. Elsa came from UpGlo, just like many of you, and now she is a software developer. So hopefully that is the same path that many of you can also follow. And now I am going to continue sharing my screen, and I will share a little bit more details about how to enroll in our classes. Let me see here. Yeah, about how to enroll in our classes. And then we can open it up for questions after that. So, okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, yeah, so we'll talk about the upcoming classes that are coming up, what the application process is like, what the requirements are, and then we will just open it up for conversation. And oh, you can get all of this information and much more at codethedream.org/classes. I'll put that in the chat. Okay. So our applications are open right now, and this is a great time because they will close next week on or on Sunday, actually on April 10th. So you have to get your application in by midnight on Sunday to be considered. We have 3 classes that are coming up. Our Intro to Programming class, which starts on May 25th and runs through September 16th. That's a 4-month program. We have then we have 2 advanced classes. We have our front end class, a React class, which is 17 weeks plus an 8-week practicum. That runs from June 8th through December 16th. And the same dates for the backend class, which is focused on Node.js with the same time frame. So these are the 3 classes that we have opening, and this application period until April 10th is the application period for all 3 of the classes. You can, in the application, you will choose if you are applying, which class you're applying to. And if you're not sure, like, oh, maybe you have a little bit of coding background, but you're not really sure if you're advanced enough for the advanced classes, you can indicate that you are interested in both intro and one of the other ones, and then I'll talk you through the next part of how we will assess if you're ready for it. If you are very brand new to coding, maybe you're just you're interested in coding, you've heard about it, but you don't really have any experience. The intro class is appropriate for beginners, but usually most people, when they're enrolling in our classes, they already know that they are interested. They've already tried it out. So we definitely suggest that in preparing to apply, that you find some online coding tutorials, that you watch them on YouTube, that you play around with them. And for the intro class, it's going to be a focus on JavaScript, HTML, and CSS is what you want to be looking for if you are new to this. Okay, now for the application process, and all of this is detailed on our codethedream.org/classes page. And just an FYI that it is kind of an extensive process. The first step of the application process is just submitting the application that you will find on there at codethedream.org/classes. And it's a pretty basic application. You don't have, anyone can apply. You do not have to, be very experienced. Anyone can apply for step 1. Okay, so this application window, this is what I'm referring to as step 1. We have a number of information sessions like this one. We have another one tomorrow that's open to the public. And this is how we communicate more information about our classes to potential students. As Elsa mentioned, our classes are completely free. I don't think I had mentioned that. That is, of course, a big distinguishing factor in our classes. You do not pay anything we hope that once you are a software developer and are making lots and lots of money, then you will remember Code the Dream and give us a donation so that we can help make this opportunity available to more people. But we are a nonprofit organization and do a lot of fundraising to ensure that our classes remain free for our students. Okay, so again, step 1 is filling out that application. Okay, step 2 is what we call the pre-work. That's this right here. So after the application closes, application window closes, the next day we will be sending an email to everyone who applied with a link to what we call the pre-work. The pre-work is basically a chance to show us what experience you have in coding. If you are new, that's totally fine. We have, for the intro class, the pre-work includes a tutorial, which actually takes you through a basic JavaScript class, a mini tutorial, and then you will write some code that you'll share with us at the end. It's a fun kind of animated tutorial that you will use. If you are applying for the advanced classes, then you will have a more complicated coding assignment so that you can show us what you know. And that is the pre-work. That's very, very important. And we expect people to spend around 10 to 20 hours on that piece. So yes, it's a very big commitment. It's a lot to ask, but that's also what we're asking people to spend every week on the class. These are part-time classes. So we want to see that you have that commitment to be able to spend that amount of time during a week. So that is the pre-work. For the advanced classes, it will depend on how many applicants we have, if we are doing interviews or not. If we have a lot of applicants, we may have to go through and actually interview every candidate to make sure. We do not do interviews for the intro classes. So all of that with the pre-work and everything, you have, let me see, 2 weeks to complete the pre-work, which again, as I mentioned, we expect to be done in 10 to 20 hours, but you have 2 weeks to do that. And then we have to look at everybody's pre-work and do the assessment. So that takes us a while. And so the decisions will come, I think, in mid-May. For a starting date for the intro class at the end of May, and for the advanced classes will start at the beginning of June. Before class begins, everyone gets an orientation so that you know how the rhythm of our classes works, and then class will begin. Let me see. Oh, let me go back for a minute here. Again, for the classes, well, actually, no, we'll go right into the requirements. So we say that the classes are going to be 10 to 20 hours per week. And that's the most important thing. You're not paying for these classes with money, but you are paying with time. The time that you are able to devote to the classes. So for 6 to 10 months, you're going to need, that big chunk of time where you can really devote to studying your code. Our classes are all in English right now. So you need to be able to read English and communicate English, at least on a basic level, with your classmates and the mentors. You do need access to a reliable computer and reliable internet. If you don't have that, but you really want to take the class, let us know. And sometimes we can work with our partners to help identify other sources of a computer or a hotspot or something. We do require that you be at least 18 years old. So I don't know if there's anyone in this program who is younger, but that is a question that we get a lot. Again, some coding experience is very helpful, but it's not required. But this is not a class to take if you're just sort of, oh, I'm curious to see if I might like that. This is more of a class that will lead you to a career as a software developer. So we want you to go into it with that in mind. If you want to apply for The advanced classes, you do need more advanced knowledge. You need to know coding fundamentals. You need to know how to use GitHub. You need to know how to use Fetch API to recall those sites. And the most important thing is we're really looking for people who have a desire to be a software developer, people who have a real commitment to learn, people who are very self-motivated and driven. Yeah, and again, all of our classes are completely free. Let's see. Okay, so I've talked a lot. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll open it up to any questions. Feel free to write your questions in the chat, or you can unmute. I guess we can see if a lot of people are asking questions at a time, then we will just move to the chat, but we can try it with if you'd like to unmute and ask any questions. Okay, there's one question, two questions coming in through the chat. Are there other classes if you are unable to commit to these classes? And are these classes open to people in foreign countries? I will answer the first question first, or the second question first. Right now, we are accepting applicants from other countries. I don't know if that will always be the case, but we are right now. Unfortunately, we cannot offer the apprenticeship to people outside the United States. So the apprenticeship is only eligible, only people who reside in the United States are eligible. We do not, at this time, we do not require any work authorization in the United States, however, because it is it's still a learning program. So our apprentices get a small stipend, but it is not an employer-employee relationship. So if you're still waiting for your work visa to come through or whatever, then the apprenticeship is still an option for you, but not if you live in another country. In terms of classes, if you're unable to commit to these particular classes, we will have another round of classes in a few months' time. I'll have to look up the dates, but we are trying to have, I think, maybe 4 intro classes a year. I have to look up to double check that. But we have already started one this year, and this will be our second. So we will have more classes later on in the year. How long is the program? Okay, so it depends on where you start from. If you start from the intro class is 16 weeks, so 4 months long. After the intro class are the advanced classes. Advanced classes are 17 weeks long, plus 8-week practicum. And then you can apply for the apprenticeship, which is 1 year long. So if you're starting now, let me say this. If you have extensive coding experience already, you might be eligible to join the apprenticeship directly. You can email me about that specifically. I will include my email here. We do have an assessment for people who maybe have worked as software developers in their home country and have experience in the languages and frameworks that we work in. So Ruby on Rails, React, or Node. If you already have experience in those languages, it may be possible for you to apply directly into the apprenticeship. So in that case, you could, apply directly to the apprenticeship. If you're starting at intro, again, you have the 4 months of intro classes, 4 months of advanced classes, 2 months of the advanced practicum, and so that's about 1 year of part-time classes. If you come in through the advanced program, it's shorter because you will not have gone through the intro class. So I hope that answers your question about the length of the program, Julia. We do not currently have any programs in Python. Yeah, we do not currently have any Python programs. We only have, for this round, we have intro, React front end, and Node back end. Later on in the year, we will also be offering Ruby on Rails. So our coding programs are really designed for that web development, which I know Python is obviously a very, very popular language that is used a lot in like, data science. But because we are focused on web development, Python is not one of our languages that we utilize. Okay, next question. Are all the students accepted into the apprenticeship program? That is an excellent question, and the answer is no. We have very limited spots for the apprenticeship, so all students are not accepted. But I will say this, that we have a lot of people who are leaving our classes and are going into jobs directly, especially after they have completed, the apprenticeship, the advanced classes, and then the practicum, that 8-week practicum that gives you team-based experience. That really prepares you very well. And so we have a lot of students who are going directly into the job market. We do believe that the apprenticeship sets you up even better for a great job because it gives you that real experience working. But unfortunately, just due to funding, due to the number of projects that we have at any given time, we are not able to accept all students into the apprenticeship. So that's a great question. Okay, another great question. What time will sessions be, in the morning or afternoon? Okay, excellent question. We have created a very flexible program intentionally because we know that many of our students have other jobs. They may be in school, and they may have a lot of family obligations. So our program is entirely part-time. And the way that we have structured our class, now that's for our classes. Once you enter the apprenticeship, that is full-time 40 hours a week. But for our classes, which is what we're mainly talking about here, the sessions are at many different times. We work with, we utilize what we call a flipped classroom model. So you get your assignments in advance and materials to work through on your own first. Then during the week, you are required to attend at least 2 what we call mentor sessions, which are live synchronous sessions, small group sessions with a professional developer who is helping to guide students through the material. These mentor sessions are held at many different times during the week. There's usually between 10 to 12 mentor sessions during the week, and you can choose the one that matches up best with your schedule, or rather the 2 that match up well with your schedule. So we have many that are offered in the evenings on Eastern time. We have some that are offered on the weekends. And if there is one that does not, if there's none that fit your schedule, we try to work with the students and the mentors to see what is the best time, and we work to find another session that will fit your schedule. So the sessions are very flexible with their time intentionally, because we know everyone has a different schedule. We're working with people in different time zones. So there are usually 10 to 12 different sessions during the week to choose from that you can attend. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, do we help our students get jobs? That's a great question, of course. So because that's what everyone is most interested in, right? Getting a job. We provide quite extensive support for our apprentices once you're in the apprenticeship program for getting a job. For our students, we provide a limited amount of support. Our program is mostly focused on, getting you those skills. We do not provide extensive support for students getting a job. We're mostly focused on those skills that you would need. But we do have some guides. We have some guides to point you in the right direction. And I also know that some of the job coaches at UpGlo have been really great about working with folks on some of those aspects that we don't necessarily help with, like a resume support and things like that. So at this time, we do provide more in-depth job support for our apprentices, but not very much for our students, though we do have a guide that we can share with you about suggested steps that you can take. We also have some workshops on Fridays that for our apprentices that some of them are open to students and that are focused on career development that we sometimes invite everyone to. Let's see. Okay, here's someone who knows Python, SQL, and R. Are you eligible for an advanced class? That will really depend. You probably are. You probably are. And what we would do in that case is we, when you apply for the class, you can indicate that you are, interested in the advanced class. The next step would be we will send you the pre-work, and you will try to do the pre-work for the advanced class. If you find that you are unfamiliar with the material, then we will then you can work on the the pre-work for the intro class to make sure that you still have an opportunity to take a class. But probably if you know Python and SQL, I think that you are very well suited for an advanced class. Yes. Okay, someone else has asked about the time of classes. I'm just going to reiterate that. The time of classes, again, there will be a number of different options for, I'm sorry, I see that my dogs have broken out of the fence. I'm going to need to go in just a second here. I'm so sorry. Yes, I see. So the times are going to be very variable for a number of different opportunities for learning. Elsa, would you mind sharing a little bit more about your experience and seeing if anyone has questions specifically for Elsa while I go take care of something real quick? I'm so sorry. Oh, I see Daisy and Reed. Excellent. Daisy, I'm going to turn it over to you. This is our co-executive director, Daisy Magnus Aite. I apologize. I'll be right back.
Thanks, Lori. Hi, everybody. My name is Daisy Magnus Aite. Can y'all hear me okay? I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. My name is Daisy and I'm the co-executive director of Code the Dream. This organization, I always say it's very, very near to my heart. I was a Code the Dream student back in 2015. And from there, I went on to a full-time job as a software engineer at Duke University. So I'm gonna jump in, and Lori did a really phenomenal job summarizing our program. And I hope that y'all are getting excited about submitting an application. If it's helpful, I'll go through the rest of these questions. So feel free to add some more questions to the chat if you have them. Somebody asked, let me see, let me go back. Oh, the time of the classes. Yes, thank you for that question. So our classes are, as Lori said, they're super flexible. So you would get an assignment for the week, and then you would go through the assignment on your own, and then you could jump into any of the 12 mentor sessions that we have. So whatever time works for you. And so those mentor sessions meet usually in the evening times. And then you can just kind of pick the session that works best for your schedule and jump in. Lori, we're just going through these questions. Feel free if you wanna jump in.
Sure. Thank you so much. Sorry about that, everybody. It's just the joys of working from home. In fact, hold on. Sorry. Okay, my apologies again. Let's see, did you get into what's a front end and back end, Daisy?
Oh, that was the next question. I'll let you take it.
Okay, sure. So so if you're asking that question, you are probably really well suited to our intro class. And during the intro class, you will definitely learn more about that. But basically, front end is really what you're seeing on the on a website, on an app that how it translates all of the data that the app has collected and presents it to the user. Whereas the backend is more of how all of that data is stored. And so you need both to do effective web development. But usually some people are more attracted to working on that front end, whereas others are more attracted to working with that data piece on the back end. So you will learn about those different options when you're in the intro class. Let's see. So Ibrahima is asking, do you have classes on data sciences or data analytics? We do not at this time. It's only on web development in those languages and frameworks that I mentioned. You know, intro to computer programming, React, which is a framework for JavaScript, and Node, which is a backend framework for JavaScript as well, and Ruby on Rails. So those are the only classes that we have, but we also know that those are all very popular languages and that will help you get a job in web development. Oh, we have a lot of great questions. This is awesome. So we'll just keep going through. Okay, in terms of when the class will be conducted in specific time and schedules, again, that goes back to our flexible structure with our mentor sessions being offered at many different times, and that you can choose which ones you go to. Each week will focus on a different lesson, and you will need to go to at least 2 per week, but hopefully you can find some that work for your schedule. Okay, Abdullah has a question about, does someone need an additional certification to help them get a job? That is a great question. At Code the Dream, at the end of the class, we provide you with a certificate that states what you have learned and how many hours you've spent in the class. However, this is not, I want to be very clear, this is not an industry recognized certification. In software development, in high-level software development, there are not industry standard certifications at this time. The industry is a little bit too new for that. You can go through, you will see things like a Microsoft certification for something, or some other CompTIA certifications, which are all very helpful, but those are not at the same level of software development that we are instructing. So in general, when you're applying for a job as a software engineer or a software developer, you do not need a certification of any particular kind. You need to be able to demonstrate that you know those skills. So what we do is help make sure that you know the skills. We give you a really great foundation, and then we give you the practice for how to actually do that. And you begin to build a portfolio that you can show a potential employer. And that means the different projects that you've worked on. And that is what employers are going to want to see for this kind of software development. And I hope that answers your question. Mursal is asking, how do you find mentors? You all do not have to find mentors. There will be, every week, you will have a spreadsheet that shows you all of the different possible mentor sessions you can attend, and you will sign up for whichever ones work for you. So you do not have to identify any mentors. We will do that for you. Will we get a certificate? As I mentioned, yes, you will get a certificate at the end, but again, it is not an industry certification, because that really does not exist for high-level software development. Let's see. Here's another question. For someone with scanty interaction and experience with coding, what does the course content look like for intro? So you could determine whether or not to skip that and go for the advanced class. That's a great question. You know, I'm just going to share my screen again and show you the website and where you can find some of this information. Let me see here. see. All right. Nice. Okay. Okay. So this is our website, codethedream.org /classes, and this is where you can see information about our classes. Now, this apply now button is obviously where our application is, but in this, take a note of this sentence right here. If you need help determining if our classes are right for you, please read over this page here, our Code the Dream classes right for me. And in this kind of checklist, this will give you an idea of what you should know and have to join the intro class. These are the things that you should need to know before taking the class. So then you can take a look here and see what should you know for the React class. Okay, goes through it. What should you know for the Ruby on Rails class? What should you know for the Node class? And that will give you an idea of what is what you should know in advance of signing up for the classes. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything else on here I'd like to point out. Yes, there is a lot of information on the classes page, but if you look through it, you can find most everything. Like here is upcoming classes and deadlines. This shows you the application periods. And then if you go to here to important dates for upcoming classes, this goes through the additional info sessions, when the pre-work is sent out, what the pre-work deadline is, when we review it, when you can expect to hear back, when the orientation is, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a number of different questions on here that I won't go through them all right now, but hopefully this gives you a sense of where to find that information. Okay. Okay, I see there is a question about Salesforce classes. We do not offer classes in Salesforce. So again, yeah, we do not have that. Okay, great question about what is the acceptance rate for the intro program? Well, I will share that it is a competitive program. Obviously, these classes are completely free. That is very attractive to a lot of people. So it varies. Usually we can only take maybe a third of the people who apply, but we still want you to please apply. You have a higher chance of getting in if you have some experience on the background. We really do look for, we're going to be looking at that code that you submit in the pre-work. So that's really, really important. So, you know, definitely take your time on that and do, you know, try to do as well as you can. And then we love it if people, you know, we can't accept everyone. We don't have enough space, but we love it when people reapply. And that to us shows a real commitment. So if you do apply and you don't get in, please apply again. And we take that as a really good sign. After the beginning session, can I apply for the advanced class? Yes, absolutely. In fact, if you are in the intro class and you complete it successfully, which means you make it all the way through and you complete the final project, you are guaranteed a spot in the advanced class of your choice. Those are the students who actually get the preference. So if you make it through the intro class, you will definitely have a spot in the advanced class. Can you go to the advanced class if you have experience in SNE and SQL? I think, again, that will depend. You can definitely try out the pre-work for the advanced class and see if, you know, if you're able to complete it, then yeah, sure. If not, then, you know, just retake the intro. It's no problem. There's, you know, lots of great fundamentals that will reinforce your knowledge. Okay. Someone is asking, please tell us more about names of companies that your team can refer us to after classes to land careers. let's see, is Daisy still on the call? Not sure if she is or not.
Sorry, I turned off my lights. Let me turn it back on.
No problem. Would you like to answer this, Daisy, or
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Can you please tell us more about, oops, where did it go? Please tell us more about names of companies that your team can refer us to after classes to land careers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so a lot of our previous students have kind of been able to get jobs on their own just because the experience that they get at Code the Dream is so unique and so robust. But as we're building up our job prep program, some of the companies that we have been working with include companies like IBM and Cisco and SAS and MetLife. And so those are companies that we would like to make an introduction to after folks complete the apprenticeship to help them land that first role. But again, like Lori said, we have had several students come right out of the classes and go on to full-time roles because the experience that they're getting in Code the Dream is so unique and so robust and very similar to the type of learning, sometimes even more advanced than the type of learning that they would get in a 4-year computer science program.
Thanks, Daisy.
Yep.
So I will send this video, this recording to the staff at Upwardly Global, and they can make sure that you all get a copy of it. Let's see. There's a question about if you attend the advanced classes, will you get certificates at the end of the class? Yes, you will absolutely get a certificate at the end of the class demonstrating what you have learned, how much time you spent in the class, but even better than that, if you make it all the way through the class, you will have an app to demonstrate your knowledge, which is really even better than the certificate. And just to be clear, what it means to complete the class is to go through each of the lessons and complete the assignment. And then at the end of the classes, there is a final project, which is very, very important. That demonstrates the culmination of all of your knowledge. So that's really the crux of the whole class, is when you're able to take all of the things you've learned and then use it to create something, really cool. After you complete your final project is when we will issue the certificates. Will we send the application form? Okay, here is the application form. And again, to get more info, you will go to codethedream.org/classes. And that is where there's also a link there to the application form. Whew, okay, that was a lot of questions. I think I made it all the way through them. If there is a question that I did not get to, please either type it again or you can unmute and ask, but those were a lot of really, really great questions. Does anyone have any more questions? I want to just say that, we're really excited to have all of you apply to the classes. And yes, they're competitive, but it's also just a really wonderful program. And we want you to apply, and we want you to tell your friends and family about this program, because it really is intended for immigrants, for refugees, for people of color, for women to really break into this industry that is not representative of what our country and what our world looks like. And we really want to change that. So thank you all so much. Please go to the website, check it out. April 10th, Sunday, that's the deadline. We will make sure that you guys have access to this recording, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any additional questions. Thank you all so much.